Hello and welcome to my channel. In today's early access video, we're taking first impressions of Lauma across various investment levels. Let's dive into everything Lauma. Here's the build so far. I'll be using the 4-star craftable weapon from Nod Cry, Black Marrow Lantern, along with the new artifact set, Silken Moon's Serenade. She'll be at Constellation 0 throughout the video, with her talents at 1, 9, and 9. This video was filmed on the early access server and is not indicative of the final product. There may be changes upon release, so be sure to check the comments below for any updates. About Lauma's talents, the tap skill simply deals very large AoE damage for 15 seconds. Now her hold skill is where it gets interesting. Lauma's hold skill is the optimal way to play her. It absorbs all Verdant Dew stacks to deal Lunar Bloom damage, which can only be dealt after consuming Verdant Dew stacks. Each stack of Verdant Dew consumed will also grant 1 stack of Moonsong, which then can be converted to Pale Hymn stacks after using her Elemental Burst. The way to generate Verdant Dew stacks is simple. Just hit enemies with Hydro and Dendro attacks. Here's the important part. Even after Lauma consumes all existing Verdant Dew stacks, new stacks will continue to generate. Why? Because Dendro core damage also counts as Dendro damage. So as long as bloom reactions keep happening, Verdant Dew stacks will keep building up. When Lauma uses her Elemental Burst, she instantly gains 18 Pale Hymn stacks. These stacks are used to boost bloom-related reactions. If she already has Moonsong stacks, she'll consume all 3 to gain 6 more Pale Hymn stacks. After activating her burst for the next 15 seconds, she can continue generating Moonsong stacks up to 3 more, which means she gets another 18 Pale Hymn stacks. Altogether, that's a total of 36 Pale Hymn stacks. Now here's the key part. Every time a party member deals bloom-related damage, these Pale Hymn stacks are consumed to increase that damage. If the bloom hits multiple enemies, multiple stacks will be used, 1 for each target hit. So about the A2 passive talent, just like Fontaine had Numa and Uzia, and Natlan has the Night Soul mechanic, Nod Cry characters come with their own unique system called Moon Sign. There are 2 types, Nascent Gleam and Ascendant Gleam. Nascent Gleam buff is active when there's only 1 Nod Cry character in the party. For Lauma, this means that normal bloom reactions can now crit with a fixed 15% crit rate and 100% crit damage. Ascendant Gleam activates when you have 2 or more Nod Cry characters in the team. This boosts Lunar Bloom crit rate and crit damage for all party members by 10% and 20% respectively. But there's a catch. You can only have 1 Moon Sign effect active at a time. So if you add another Nod Cry character like Aino to Lauma's team, you'll lose Nascent Gleam. That means normal bloom reactions will no longer be able to crit. So as of now, Lauma works best with traditional bloom teams like Nilou, Kokomi, Baiju, or Nahida. But with future Dendro characters from Nod Cry, she could become a key piece of new meta team comps. Her A4 passive scales with Elemental Mastery. For every point of EM, Lauma's damage is increased by 0.04%, up to a maximum of 32%, which is good, and on top of that, her charged attack cooldown is reduced by 20%, which is not really helpful in combat situation. But that's not all. She also has a bonus passive talent called Moon Sign Benediction. This talent converts every bloom reaction into a lunar bloom, and also gives a small buff, increasing the base damage of those reactions by 14%. So, what's the best way to build her? Well, since so many of her effects scale with Elemental Mastery, stacking EM is key. You'll want to aim for at least 1000 EM to really maximize her lunar bloom damage. While she starts scaling well after 800, going above 1000 will push her performance to another level. One thing I noticed after recording the whole video, her elemental skills AoE actually follows the active character's movements. That means you won't have any issues with Dendro application, even if you're constantly repositioning or switching characters mid-combat. Alright, let's cut through the confusion and get to what really matters. Lauma's actual damage in real combat. For this showcase, I'll be using her with a free-to-play craftable weapon, so no 5-star weapons involved. Her team setup will be Nahida, Nilou, and Kokofish, a classic bloom comp, and honestly, one of the best teams to bring out her full potential. Let's see how she performs. Now let's switch things up and equip Lauma with her best-in-slot weapon, Nightweaver's Looking Glass. This weapon is honestly insane in terms of buffs. It gives a flat plus 120 Elemental Mastery, and that's just the beginning. It also boosts bloom damage by 120%, hyper bloom and burgeon damage by 80%, and lunar bloom damage by 40%. That's a massive boost for a reaction-based team like this. The team setup will stay the same: Nahida, Nilou, and Kokomi. Right now, I don't think anyone in this core is really swappable. You need Nilou for Hydro Aura and Bloom conversions, Nahida for strong Dendro application and team-wide EM buffs. The only possible flex spot here is Coco Fish. You can replace her with a max EM Barbara if you want a more F2P-friendly option, but just keep in mind, you'll be sacrificing some healing consistency. Now, what if you don't have Nahida or Kokomi, but you still want to pull for Lauma? Don't worry, you've still got solid options. You can run her with Aino for strong Hydro application and Baiju for reliable team-wide healing and some extra Dendro support. But here's something important to remember. As long as Aino is in the party, Bloom reactions won't be able to crit, because you'll be triggering the Ascendant Gleam Moon Sign instead of Nascent Gleam. So while the setup still works, just know that you're giving up that crit potential for Bloom reactions. Also, keep in mind Baiju isn't your only option. You can definitely swap him out for Yao Yao. She provides consistent healing, and honestly, her Dendro application is surprisingly strong, especially for an off-field support. So if you don't have Baiju or just want a more accessible alternative, Yao Yao fits right in with Lauma's kit. Lauma isn't just limited to traditional Bloom teams. She actually performs exceptionally well in both Hyper Bloom and Burgeon comps, since her entire kit is designed to enhance Bloom-related reactions across the board. So now, let's try her out in both Hyper Bloom and Burgeon teams and see how she holds up in different reaction setups. Also, keep in mind, you can absolutely mix things up and run her alongside characters like Sino, Alhaitham, Tignari, or even lunar charged units like Flins and Anefa. There's a ton of flexibility depending on how you want to build around her. So, all things considered, here's my opinion on Lauma. She's a very strong unit, not just because she boosts Bloom damage, but because she enhances every Bloom-related reaction across the board. Before Lauma, traditional Bloom teams really struggled against single-target enemies in boss fights. But now, with her in the party, Bloom teams are finally becoming viable in all kinds of content. And honestly, I can't wait to see what future characters will bring, especially those that synergize even better with her kit. So with that said, here's a quick Spiral Abyss showcase to show you how Lauma performs in real high-end content. And that's everything for now. Thanks so much for watching. If there are any updates or changes, be sure to check the comments below for the latest info. This is Shadow signing out. See you in the next one.